For the past 4 years, we've been living out of a two-wheel drive contractor van turned overlander while chasing adventure across the Americas. From the Arctic Ocean in Tuktoyaktuk, Canada, to the rugged southern tip of Argentina in Ushuaia, we drove our tiny home on wheels into some of the wildest and most remote corners we could find on the map. After 16 countries and more than 100,000 kilometers on the road, we've returned home with a lifetime of lessons learned. But we're not done traveling. We have driven all the way from north to south. Now, we're putting all of the lessons we've learned from that trip to build the ultimate overland vehicle that will carry us around the world. We're the SlowRoamers, and this is our World Tour Build Series.
Well, hey there folks, it's Alex here from the show Alex Build Stuff, the show where I build stuff and I show you. In the last episode, we got the lion's share of the interior refit all finished up. Feels great, but let me tell you, we're both exhausted, we need a break. So, we're going to do a little bit of camping before we get going on this next episode. Let's go!
Are you ready for an adventure?
Yeah, I'm ready for an adventure.
Brother!
Brother!
No.
Oh, you didn't like that?
You're embarrassing me.
Today we're heading out to a lake located here on the island, and we'll spend a couple nights camping on the shore. Wes proposed this trip back in May, and we immediately said yes. Little did we know how fast it would come up on us and how badly we needed to get away from the shop for a little break. Alright, so you guys remember Wes from previous videos. He has the first gen Dodge Cummins. He has a second truck, which is a beautiful little OBS Chev, and he brought canoes for us. Check it out. Hi Wes. Look at this little beauty. Look at that. Ain't that thing a beauty? Say hi, Wes.
Hey. How's it going?
Pretty good. And we have someone new to introduce you to. Hi, Jen. This is Wes's girlfriend. And we're going to be going out on the lake today. This is our first time doing any sort of traditional camping in years. The last time we spent a night in a tent was long before we even left on the Pan American Highway. Luckily, this weekend's weather report is nothing but sunshine and high temps, so it should be a breeze getting back into the swing of things. There's a good job. This is Theo, Wes's little mini Aussie. You know what else we haven't done in a long time? Paddled a canoe. As we've arrived pretty late in the day, we won't be doing much of it today. Wes has a little trick up his sleeve for that. We'll paddle plenty tomorrow though. This may come across as a little bit elitist, but hear me out. One of the biggest and most glaring lessons we learned from driving the Pan American Highway is the one about how good we've got it here in Canada. Our wild spaces like this, grand landscapes, and access to the outdoors is unmatched in the Americas, and it's a privilege that we're far more aware of now that we've seen the flip side of the coin. This weekend will be a great opportunity to take in this pristine Canadian wilderness and reflect on how lucky we are that we can access it like this.
Are there bears?
Oh yeah.
You reckon?
Oh yeah.
First beer. Would you hurry up?
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, that's good.
Oh.
I've lost my sandals.
Oh, boys.
I like got in a little farther. This is true.
For 2 blissful nights, there is nothing but the sound of silence, a crackling fire, and the gentle murmur of laughter and conversation to permeate the stillness. We needed this. We really needed this.
Fancy coffee machine.
Or how did you sleep last night, love?
Not great.
I don't like sleeping on the ground.
Yeah.
This is why we overland.
I'm a princess. Where's my house?
Yeah. I don't know how that works, but there's no top.
Bacon fat.
Yeah.
Cooked eggs.
I like it.
On this gloriously sunny and calm day, we're taking off across the lake to check out another smaller lake connected by a tight and winding creek. It should be a good chance to get sunburnt, crack a few cold beers, and get some adventure running through our veins. We're starting out with a gentle paddle, but it's not long before someone, Wes, decides to pull out the cheat codes. Our trip across the lake made shorter by a quick pop of the throttle, and we'd reached the shallow delta of a small creek that joins lakes, and from here we'll be paddling. Or maybe I should say bushwhacking. A short while later, we were heading back towards camp for the evening. The passage through this wetland provided just the right amount of adventure and intrigue to make a memory and to keep things interesting, which we always appreciate.
It's not, yeah.
You keep on flipping it, and then, where's your face? And then,
It's still here.
yeah, and then unflipping it so that I don't get the shot. What the heck?
What? Sorry?
And with that, our little camping weekend comes to a close, a perfect little break from the grind of building our truck. But now it's time to get back to work because there are many more camping opportunities awaiting us this summer, and we need the truck for those. We made a lot of progress last week. The cab has gone from loud and kind of uncomfortable to, well, probably quieter and more comfortable, but there's still lots to do.
Well, it looks like I got my assistant back with me this week.
Trusty sidekick.
Trusty sidekick. All right, so like I said, we finished off the lion's share of the interior cab refit last week. And so this week we're left with kind of the small finishing details. Namely, we're going to put a headliner in. We're going to see what the heck we're going to do with the door cards. A few brackets. We're going to wire in some switches. We got to get these Auxbeam lights working. Going to wire in our dash cam permanently. And
Center console.
center console. I don't know if we're going to finish that one.
Yeah,
I don't think
we'll
it's going to
see.
make it to us. But yeah, we've got a little bit of work. It's going to be a little bit more chill this week, which is going to be nice.
And exciting.
Yeah. All right, let's get to work.
This is our old dirty headliner. We're really leaning into retro.
Retro pattern.
If you haven't caught on by now, we're going for shades of brown and tan mixed with classic and retro vibes within the cab. Meg found this cool pattern fabric for the headliner, and we're using spray adhesive to adhere it. We were hoping to use a Mexican blanket like we did in Betty, but it turns out they're kind of hard to find in the variety we wanted this far north. Go figure, we're in Canada.
Tell me your headliner. Meg's very proud of this headliner.
Well, don't you love it?
Of course I love it.
Not you.
Oh.
Everybody. Come on. man, this is so cool and retro.
Yeah.
Picked this fabric up from a
Fabric
little
Land?
local shop called Fabricland. And we love it. It's gonna be perfect.
Yeah, let's put it in. Alright, so we're just gonna make a note that we are going to do not blue sun visors. I want to get old road signs or license plates for those. But this is what the headliner looks like. Not bad. Looks pretty good.
For good measure, since I mentioned I'd do so in a previous video, I'm finally changing out the mirrors and bringing back the classic GM look. It's about time, I'd say.
Apparently this is drool worthy. I don't know if I get it, but we'll trust.
It's drill worthy.
We'll trust the expert. But I do think I understand that these ones are ugly.
Yes.
And ours are
Better looking.
pretty? Get that sucker off, honey.
Yeah, working on it.
There she comes.
Came off a heck of a lot easier than the other one, that's for sure. So I know that I said that we were going to make new door cards out of aluminum, and I like the idea, but at the same time, it's a gross use of aluminum, and aluminum's expensive, and I could use aluminum to build other things. And there's a good truck at the wrecker that has good door cards on it, so I might just go and get another door card for the other side, or figure out some way of using the one that we already have, and then just spray paint these so that they match the rest of the truck. And then what I might do is put like a aluminum backing here, and then build a little tray kind of thing, and put a nice armrest on it so that it's nice and comfortable instead of this. So yeah, just an ever-evolving line of decisions.
Once we had made the decision to keep the door cards, it made sense just to keep the doors too. So Meg got started prepping the exposed inner surfaces of the door to get black paint, and I prepped the door cards. Next, I reinstalled the seat belts. We found a used set of belts from a truck with a tan interior to help match the rest of ours.
Alright, so I've been kind of wondering what the heck to do with covering this up. Obviously we got the shift boot, but I need some way of clamping this down. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make a cover out of aluminum that just goes right on top of here and kind of seals closely-ish around the transmission shifter here. I'd kind of like to reuse the factory cover, this guy, that once upon a time sat right here. And I think that I can get pretty close to being able to reuse it completely. So I'm going to modify this a little bit to fit, and we'll see how that goes.
Despite so much of the cab interior being replaced by either non-factory or factory pieces from different trucks, I relished the opportunity to modify parts original to this truck. If I can keep as much of the original truck as possible, I'll do so. Modifying a piece like this to fit is a fun, though admittedly a time-consuming project. but in the end, the finished product is what brings personal character to a vehicle. It's always the custom pieces that catch my eye in other vehicles and immediately start conversations with the owners. So when someone pokes their head inside of Jerry, I want there to be plenty of little details that keep people making double takes and wondering what else they'll find the longer they look. I think in the end, Jerry is going to be packed full of that kind of character and vehicular charm, making this truck a real functional piece of art made by a couple of kids in their parents' carport. When it's all done, it's not perfect, but it's handmade and that's how we like it. As I watch through this and reflect on what we're building, I'm starting to wonder if really we're just making a rolling piece of artwork complete with sculpture, painting, textiles, design, and every ounce of love and care.
Well, this little steel piece is pretty overkill, but it looks pretty good and gives me a solid kind of like mounting. Yes, I got to screw it in on the transmission tunnel there. And I'm going to fill this whole thing with foam just to kind of sound deaden the this part. And yeah, I think the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the aluminum cover for the top of this. So yeah, let's do that.
Nestled away in a corner of my dad's shop, I have a supply of aluminum that is left over from the construction of the big expedition truck that I've shown on our videos a few times. These sheets are well over 6 years old now and were bought pre-COVID when the prices for aluminum were significantly lower. It makes me wonder if I'm sitting on a small treasure trove. I haven't had the chance to work much with aluminum in the past, but I'm looking forward to the stage of this build when I'm using rivets, my metal brake, and the aluminum spool gun I have for the welder. Exciting times to look forward to for sure. And a little bit of sound deadening for extra measure. Okay, next on the list is a shift boot clamp. This will ensure even clamping force on the flange of the shift boot. I'm freehanding this ring since I don't have big enough hole saws and I'm too lazy to set up a jig to cut it. Luckily, I have a lot of time on the jigsaw, so it turned out pretty well. At my buddy Lance's suggestion, I'm shoving foam down the hole for the twin sticks to help keep the noise ingress from there to a minimum, and a foam cutout for the transmission hole as well. And there you go, the finished product. Doesn't look too bad if I say so myself.
So, one of the issues that I have, as many other Chevy truck owners have, is this problem. I got to replace the door pins in this door. So I'm going to quickly do that as just like a little side mission, and then we're going to move on to the next thing.
Hey! See, I knew something was gonna fall near my toes. My toes were in such danger there.
Okay. We should just go doorless.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
a
like
Jeep.
a Jeep. It may close better right now, but it actually really messed up. And I'm going to admit to the internet what I did wrong so that maybe someone else doesn't do the same thing. So what I learned today is that up here on the truck side, there are bushings. And down here on the door side are bushings. I thought that the bushings were jammed in on this side, so I drilled out the holes and then put in the bushings. All 4 bushings are on the truck side right now. The bushings on the bottom are supposed to be in the door. And I did not realize until I was trying to put it all back together. So I've got 2 bolts in there that are clamped and it seems to be doing the trick. But yeah, that was really stupid. I did not pay close enough attention and should have watched the tutorials a little bit closer. Oh well. Kind of got it sorted. That's what's in there right now. So one day when I go and do the higher quality ones, I'm gonna have to take the pins out and then probably figure out some way of getting or filling in those holes, re-drilling them. And then I'll put the bushings on this side, not on this side.
With my screw up on the door pins still glaring at me, I'm gonna get some sound deadening on the inside of the doors so that I can close that chapter for a little while until I'm ready to deal with the fix.
Okay, so I have leftover sound deadening and I have been told that putting some sound deadening on the underside of the hood can help with sound. So there's a lot of reverberation that happens right there. So I'm going to take some of the extra pieces that I have, just put them on the underside, and we'll see if it quiets down the truck. I might actually put some on the outside of the firewall as well, just for extra measure.
This is one of those things that I'm not entirely sure if it's going to make a huge difference, but I have spare material, so I may as well use it up. I'm tentatively planning on putting a hood-mounted solar panel on the truck, and reflecting any heat downwards will be advantageous for the performance of that panel and the longevity of the paint underneath it. I'm just trying to see the silver linings here. Also, this job was way harder to do than it looks.
Alright, well, I'm all done. After about half an hour sitting and questioning my life's decisions, I finally finished everything up. I even got some sound deadening on the firewall, so hopefully that should, I don't know, make it a little bit better, but
Quieter.
oh, look who it is.
Hi.
Hi, baby. I'm exhausted again. It's time to go get some food and jump in the ocean.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so you guys may remember a while back we did a soft install of a WolfBox G900 Pro, and I just installed that really quickly because I knew that I was going to be taking off everything from the cab. But now it is time to finally do the permanent install of our G900 Pro. So going back to that, this right here is a WolfBox G900 Pro. It's a dash cam slash reverse cam. We're using this in place of a rear view mirror because, of course, when we put the camper on the back, we're not going to be able to see out our rear view anyway. Because I'm doing like a full custom install of the interior, I want to position this backup camera a lot higher than a normal like rear view mirror would normally be, because what I found while we were driving around in Betty is that our mirror was always in the way of me being able to see out the window. And this time around, I want to make sure that I have a really clear view out of our windshield. So I'm planning on putting it way up high, right up here. But that means that I have to build a custom bracket. So I'm going to test fit this G900 Pro up into where I want it, and then start building a custom bracket for it. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the features of this backup camera dash cam and why it is so damn good.
Okay, let's dive into another time-consuming custom application process. This first part of me trying to figure out how to mount the G900 Pro is actually a failure. It doesn't work out. but I'm leaving it in this video to demonstrate that the process of making custom pieces is not always straightforward, nor is it always easy. It takes a massive amount of time, and often I have to return to the drawing board and start over. What you're watching on screen is a massively condensed representation of the time that is poured into a project like this, and so often it's the teeny tiny things that consume the greatest quantities of time.
Okay, so I don't know exactly how much I will show in the actual video of the whole process of trying to build a mount coming down off of the head center console thing, but it was getting way too complicated and way too challenging to build, so I started looking for different options, and I went and found the old mirror from the truck, and it has this on the back. And turns out if I turn it upside down and then push it up, I can actually get the mirror really high up in the windshield. So I think I'm just going to disassemble this mirror and use this piece right here, and totally simplifies everything that I was going to do. So it's just how she goes sometimes.
Although I dumped a bunch of time and effort into a piece that didn't work, finding that obvious solution in the end totally makes up for it. Now I have a better looking, less bulky, and less clunky solution for this problem, and it feels and looks great. I love it when I find the answer that was staring me in the face. This answer to the problem allowed me to make a far less complicated bracket that the WolfBox G900 faceplate could hang onto, and now I can make adjustments to how it sits in the windshield whenever I need to. Et voila, a simpler solution for a simple problem. I'm actually pretty happy with how this turned out. It does exactly what I wanted it to, and it's super lightweight. Next up is hardwiring the camera into the truck. This means taking the power, signal, and GPS wire and running it discreetly through the truck's interior. I'm drilling a hole through the wall of the cab at the back corner for the rear camera signal wire, and then putting a rubber grommet over the wire to seal up the hole. I'll add some sealant at a later date. From here, I run the signal wire along the inside of the frame using zip ties to secure it to the existing wiring harness. In any spot there's likely to be chafing, I wrap it in electrical tape or put wire loom for protection. The WolfBox G900 Pro has a 4K forward-facing camera and a 2.5K rear-view camera. Includes a 128GB micro SD card for MP4 video recording, displays your direction, rate of speed, and has a G sensor for impact detection. Honestly, these are all great specs, but the short version, the WolfBox G900 Pro is just a well-designed and easy-to-install tool that fills a need, and I'm just stoked to be using it. To get yours, check out the link in the description below.
So a while back I purchased this 3D printed bezel that holds a CarPlay unit, and it goes into that open slot on the dash. This is a really cool little option, just so that we have like some navigation screen like right in the dash. I can run my phone off of it. It also has an auxiliary, so we can just go and plug this right into a Bluetooth speaker, which we intend to do. I just wanted to show off that. I forget the guy that I bought it off of. It's on one of the Facebook groups for GMT 400s in case you're interested in it. So yeah, I'm going to install this into the dash now so that I can run the wires for it. Well, it's the next day, and I kind of had a bit of a fight with the electrical yesterday. Didn't do any shooting. You know, doing electrical and diagnosing stuff like that is just not very cinematic. So I just turned off the camera and
dealt with my misery of dealing with electrical stuff. Had a few other discouraging things happen, but we do have the screen in the dash. Today I'm going to be working on charging and getting some USB-C and USB chargers into the dash, as well as a switch panel. So you can see here, this is a thermometer that I have wanted to install in my dash for years. I bought this probably like, 4 years ago at this point and never installed it. So that's awesome. I just have to figure out where to put the thermometer. This is the screen. And unfortunately, in my attempt to hardwire the screen into the dash, I forgot to check the voltage on the actual screen or the CarPlay unit, and when I went to go hardwire it in, I didn't realize that I had constant power down here, and I fried the screen. I thought that it was ignition power down here, but it turns out it was always on, and I wired in the USB-C thing and it was 5 volts, not 12 volts. So that screen is now fried. I've got another one coming because I really want to have a CarPlay unit right here. So I'm not going to make that mistake again. And then yeah, I just got my quad lock case. I've been using this quad lock mount. This was actually a bedside mount at one point, and I modified it to fit into the truck. There is some existing holes drilled in this dash bezel already, and I can put a USB-C plug into there, and I can fast charge my phone, which is awesome. And today we're going to be filling this hole here. I'm going to be using or modifying the deck kind of like steel bezel that goes in here to fit 2 chargers that are 100-watt USB-C chargers, and then figuring out how to mount our Auxbeam switch panel down here. I also want to show off what my dad built for the truck. These are wooden door pulls on the factory door cards. So he made these, I was like, yeah, I want to make something that looks pretty original. And my dad is always looking for ways to help with the truck build. And so he made these out of cedar and then a little bit of oak. They turned out really, really beautiful. I'm so stoked with how those look. God, I love having just little personal touches. So you guys may remember when I built this bumper, I installed our 7-inch Ray L series Auxbeam spotlights onto the bumper. I never got around to actually wiring them up because I just dove into other projects, and I have been full gas on that stuff up until now. And now that we're doing the interior and kind of finishing off all the little details, I get to wire in switches and make everything work, which is both fun and a lot of work. I did briefly introduce the switch panel that we're going to be using from Auxbeam in that video, but I never really showed it off. And last night, before I went to bed, I was checking out all of the components that we got in this 8-gang like switch panel from Auxbeam. And I have to say that the build quality of this stuff is really starting to get really, really good. I was thoroughly impressed at how nice this switch panel is. So I'm going to show you some of the components, and then we're going to jump into building a mount for the actual switch panel in the cab, and then getting these lights working hopefully by the end of this video. So let's do that, and then we'll get to work. Let's get this thing opened up. So that's our 8-gang multifunction knob switch panel. So first things is the actual switch panel itself. It looks just like a little, switch panel, whatever, but like if you hold it, it's all aluminum. It's not plastic. I have to say, like, the build quality of this is actually really, really nice. It's a nice clicky feeling from the actual buttons. This right here is the big fuse block that they give you. Now look at this. Look how beautifully organized that is. And then all of your cables. Look at these cables. They come already, with nice big leads on the end. They're all wrapped in I forget what this is called. My brain is not working. It's still early this morning. Like, everything about the build quality of this package is just really, really, really nice. This is your signal wire from the switch panel to your actual like fuse panel. That looks fantastic. And then they send all of this stuff to wire in to your system. All of everything is so nicely done. Like, Auxbeam is really bringing it to the table. So let's get this positioned into the cab. So I want all of my switches to be super accessible, easy to press. And so I was looking at it yesterday, and I think I want to put this panel right about here, which means the insert that I put in here with the chargers, it has to have kind of an arm or something like that. Something similar to what I was trying to build with the WolfBox arm. It has to reach out at kind of a funny angle and go right about here. And that should make it really easy for me to press the buttons while I'm driving. This insert in here is steel, so I think I'm going to be using steel for this instead of aluminum. It's a little bit heavier than I want, but you don't always get what you want. But yeah, I think that I'm going to start by making the insert in here, putting some charging blocks in there, and then figuring out how the heck the arm is going to work, which I think it's actually going to be pretty easy to build. I'm going to say it now, this week of building seriously got away on me. The second half, or maybe I should call it the second third of this cab refresh, has been kicking my butt. I have spent way more hours in all of the little sub-projects than I ever could have imagined. Although the time commitment still somehow catches me by surprise, I think it's why I started out on this global expedition truck build with so much energy. Because I knew that if I didn't, it would drag out far longer than we actually have time for in this year-long turnaround. We not only want to depart in May of 2027 on our world tour, we also want to use the truck prior to leaving. That's what gnaws at the back of my head while I'm planning and executing each of the stages of this build. But I do have to wonder if I'm putting a little bit too much pressure on myself.
Alright, so here's my next little challenge. I've got to get this fuse box mounted somewhere in the engine bay. Lance did a fantastic job of packing a lot of stuff in here and making it look like there's a lot of space, but there isn't. Not when it comes to mounting one of these. Pretty much all of the space on the fenders is kind of taken up. Over on that side, something I never mentioned actually is that eventually we are going to build a snorkel for this truck, and Lance is going to build an air box over there. So that filter over there, it's only temporary, and it's going to get a full air box with a snorkel. So I can't put anything over there. That means that I've got to put it in here somewhere. And the only place that I have found that will likely work is right here by the master cylinder. And I'm gonna have to make like a piece that goes down to the fender tub so that it can kind of hover right here and not be in the way, because I need to make room for this lifting mechanism, but also not like interrupt on anything here. So yeah, got a bit of a challenge ahead of me. Should be fun.
All this rush and build chaos aside, I know that when the tasks are complete and we roll off on our first adventure with time enough to relax for a while before leaving on a 4 to 5 year trip, it will all be worth it. So we'll keep on pushing hard to get this truck back on the road and ready to take on the world.
Well, friends, I had to put down the camera and just charge at this problem. Not that it was a problem, but it was a heck of a job. As you can see, I've got the whole grill, lights pulled out, everything. But I've made some really good progress, which I'm excited about. We've got the lights working. And I've also got this fuse block control panel for the switch panel. more or less wired up. I just have to make it look pretty. And yeah, anyway, I'm gonna show you the lights, and then I might have to let you go because this video is getting pretty long. I'm totally exhausted, and this place looks like it was hit by a tornado. But yeah, let's see some lights. I initiate the power of the sun. Bee-hoo. Wow, they're so bright. Ah, I just blinded myself. Oh, never had this before. Oh, it's so cool. Wow. Now I'm overlanding. And there's white daytime runners. Oh, that's... Hold on a minute. I can fix that. Look at those bad boys. Both working real nice. Oh, yeah. All right, welcome to the other tornado zone. So that right there is the switch panel. And as you can see, I don't have any kind of indicators of, you know, what's on, what's not, but these are my daytime runners on the bottom here. And then these are the lights. So the cool thing about this switch panel is that it comes on and off with my ignition. So if I turn my ignition off, the panel goes off. Turn the ignition back on. There it is. That's because I've wired it into my accessory. So that's a cool little nifty thing that I like about these switch panels. Obviously, you never have to worry about turning them off. Cool. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, something that I didn't know I could do, but I was playing around with the buttons. See that one? It says strobe. Oh, I could get in trouble with that. Okay, I don't know if we can see outside, but there's another feature that we can do with this. That's really cool. So if I touch bright, I can dim the lights. Huh! That's so cool! I love it! Alrighty, well that is, like I said, as far as I'm gonna get on this video. Unfortunately, I've just run out of time, and I've been working like crazy to get this cab done. We really want to go camping, and it was just not an option to drive around with an open transmission tunnel, and how much noise was in the cab. It was just, we weren't going to be able to do it for a long period of time. So it was absolutely mandatory to get the truck to this point so that we can do a little bit of camping, enjoy the summer a bit, and yeah. So that's why I've been working as hard as I have and nearly pushing myself to burnout. So yeah, I've still got a lot of things to button up. Obviously, you've got to put a grill back on here, some lights, get all the electrical buttoned up in there. But I got it to a point where you guys can see the lights, you can see the switch panels, you can see the backup camera and the new interior and all of the nice little things. But just hang in there. We'll get you a tour of all the completed stuff at some point. And yeah, if you guys have made it this far and you're still watching, massive thumbs up to all of you. Thank you so much for sticking in there and watching the whole video. I really appreciate it. Meg really appreciates it. Yeah, all right, I'm gonna get this place I'm gonna get it all cleaned up. It's just a total freaking mess in here. All right, later. Catch you in the next one.